Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live show for Windwitch by Susan Dannard for Which Lands Long, which was created by Jade from JD Ray Reads, as I'm sure you know, because for some reason I've been mentioning you like 5 times in every single video that I'm doing at the minute.
I mean,
but yeah, I'm going to hand it over to Jade to get us started with the discussion. And also, just a warning, I have not changed what internet thing I'm connected to. So if I start to like freak out, I will disappear while I change that. But you guys just go without me.
We'll have to manage without you. But thanks for the very brief introduction there, Becca. I feel like a news reporter. From the studio now, out here. Yeah, we all know why we're here. I was going to say I'm going to assume people have read it, but I know that certain people here, not here, but in the chat at least, did not manage to finish it. So I'm very interested to see what everyone's thoughts on this are. But the general consensus that I've heard is that a lot of people have much preferred this to the first one. So first up, is that our opinions as well? Yep. Ashley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cody?
Yep.
Becca?
Yep.
Same. Chat. Do you feel the same? One chapter left. Oh.
Finished last night. Everyone seems to be really last minute, and I don't know whether I'm just noticing it because I'm also last minute.
Other than Cody.
I finished it.
We finished it today. Cody.
We have one for I preferred book one.
Ooh.
Oh, another preferred Truth Witch. But general consensus seems I've got my popcorn. I'm ready for the second round of chaos.
Yeah, I'm hoping this isn't as chaotic as the first one. I said in the first one, Cody, you weren't there, but I did say in the first one, we'll only be here for an hour. This isn't like an incredibly dense book series to talk about. There's not that much. We were there for 2 hours because no one knew what was happening.
We were all so confused.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why, because the first book, I was very confused for a lot of it too. So.
Actually, Cody, because you weren't there for the first one, do you want to just give us a quick recap on your thoughts on the first one? Not in depth, because I don't expect you to remember too much. It was a while ago, but general thoughts?
General thoughts was just that it was trying to accomplish a lot. It felt very dense in the world building and the politics and even the magic, which still confuses me a little bit. But it still read very YA. There wasn't the character development there that I wanted. And I read it so quickly, the pacing was just far too quick for me. I was just not getting invested in what was happening or with the characters either. So I ended up giving it I initially was thinking 2.5 stars, and then I really enjoyed Merrick, so I bumped it up to a 3. So there's my general
classic
thought.
Cody, didn't like it, 3 stars.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah. Standard.
I can support that, and as I said in the Truth Witch live, I completely understand people that struggle with that one, because I also DNF'd it the first time, so I see both sides of a coin, someone that can enjoy it and less so. But we all did enjoy Windwitch a lot more. It's a lot more, a little bit more. I think Windwitch ups it a fair bit. So general spoiler-free thoughts on Windwitch. Becca, do you want to kick us off?
So I liked it a lot more, but I don't know if that's because I tabbed. Because I think when I went into Truth Witch, I went into it thinking it was adult, but then like Cody said, and like I said last time, like it reads very young adult. So as soon as it started in that style, I decided I wasn't going to tab or anything, because it should be pretty easy for me to understand. So now that I was really confused, I actually put the time into tabbing this, and I understood it a lot more. So I don't know whether it's better, or whether I enjoyed it more, or whether it's just because I actually understood what was going on, because I actively tabbed it and wrote notes to make sure that I understood. But I've also noticed in this, because I wanted to understand why it was so confusing, aside from it trying to do so much and being too fast paced. And I just think that Susan Dannard's foreshadowing and her writing is very subtle. Like, I noticed there's a specific point that we'll probably talk about at some point, but she mentioned a character having something, and I thought that she just left out the bit where the character got the thing that they had. But then I actually, because I tabbed, I went back and they had, like, we had read them actually get the thing, but like no attention was drawn to it at all. It was just like tacked into a sentence. So I think that the world building and the foreshadowing definitely is a little bit too vague. Like, I feel like Susan Dennard doesn't give you the opportunity to get the plot twist yourself because it's and I'd like it to be a little bit less subtle, but then that's just like a weird thing. I don't know, because I'm glad that it's not predictable, but I like to be able to at least have a chance at getting it myself. You know what I mean?
Whereas on a reread, you do pick up on those very subtle things.
No.
For sure.
I'm so confused because I'm like, what wasn't predictable? What was the plot twist that you didn't see coming? Because like I saw some shit coming. I don't know.
There's only one thing that I would consider a plot twist, and obviously we're in a non-spoiler section right now, so I can't say what it is, but it's to do with the main character. Like, I clocked that something was going on there, and I have loads of notes about what I thought it was as I was going through the book, but the thing that it actually was, I didn't get.
Oh, okay. I'm excited to hear what that is.
I am also excited to see what that is. Right. Love him. Ashley, general thoughts?
One thing that stood out for me and I think worked for me, I don't know whether, I guess it would be the structure rather than specifically the writing, but the way this was structured with the perspectives, I think helped me make sense of what was going on more, because in the first book, you've got Merrick, you've got Safi, you've got Isil, you've got Adian, you've got all these people doing separate things. In this one, you have 3 groups of people and what's going on with these 3 groups of people. So I think it was much easier to place them and what's going on in the world in relation to these groups of people. So that worked a lot better for me. I do think that the pacing generally got a bit better, not entirely. There were definitely things that I was just like, I had to reread a scene to make sure I understood what had gone on. Because, yeah, I think it could be part of what Becca said with she doesn't necessarily draw attention to things. There were definitely things I was like, wait, did that just happen? And have to go back.
I do have that specific thing that I'm talking about. It's like a really minor event in the book, but like when we get into spoilers, I will like explain what exactly it is.
Okay.
I will say in terms of the perspectives themselves, Safi was lost on me. I wasn't too interested in what she was doing and that whole thing over there. I was much more interested in what everyone else was doing.
You're telling me you weren't interested in the Hellbards?
Not particularly, no.
I was interested in how the Hellbards connect to all of the other things that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
But Safi's perspective was also my least favorite.
It's just a lot of walking around and stuff.
Fair. Okay.
I have a similar, like I said to them about not necessarily Merrick, but the city over there that he was in. Like there was just a lot of underground walking. And a lot of time underground.
See, parallel to that, I would say that a lot of traveling scenes were skipped, and I can't remember which specific one it was now. But like people were doing the thing where they just kind of appear where they want to be. It depends. It depends whether the point of the story, like for example, Isil and Adian's point to what they were doing was that they were on a journey together, so their scenes weren't skipped, but other people, if the point was like where they were going. Oh, I think it was Safi when they were leaving that pirate town bit. They kind of just in 2 sentences got out, and I was like, right, cool.
Well, there's a thing, I don't know if it's spoilery to say, I'll keep it for in a bit, just in case, but a thing with Israel and Adian, even though a lot of their thing is traveling, there were a lot of points where they were just like, and now we're back, and it's like, oh, okay.
This is just going to be me defending my opinion this time. Cody.
I agree with a lot of Ashley's points. I think the difference with this one was that I was finally getting the character development, which meant I was finally invested in what was actually happening to them. I really liked the unlikely alliances. It gave us some banter back and forth, which was nice. And I'm liking Safi a lot more in this one. Also, I'm liking that the world's been expanded in this. We're going to different places. And I feel like I'm hoping for some more backstory with the mythology. That's all I'm going to say. I feel like we halted that slightly in this book, which was what I was most excited about. And Jade, you're making me feel like we're going to get a lot in the next one. Great. But yeah, I like this one a lot more. I like that we had a new point of view, which was interesting too. New side characters, which were enjoyable as well. I will still stand by the point, though, that I feel like this book series needs a glossary. Like, I need to know what different witches you can have, because
That's
at some
exactly
point,
what was said in the first
yeah,
one.
there was a point in this where they introduced a new type of witch, and I was like, well, that's convenient. That they just happen to be there and they have the exact powers that you need. And I'm like, is she going to do this throughout the series? We're not going to know what's out there. And then they're like, oh, I'll need someone to burn this. And it's like, oh, it just happens to be someone who can use fire. I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous about that.
Like the fog witches, yeah, they exist.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. If it's something like really niche, I'm like, I don't know. I'm forgetting the details because I read it a week ago and I have a memory like a sieve. But there was one point where there was like a witch introduced, and I was like, oh, that was convenient that they just happen to have the power that you need right now. But I really liked Iseult's development because she comes into her own, and I like the, I can't say the person's name, but I like the person that's pulling the strings, shall we say, too.
That's
interesting. And also at the end, the way that Iseult and Safi kind of can connect in a way now also means things are going to move a bit quicker, hopefully. So there's not going to be all this like, oh, where are you? I must journey to find you. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, those are my thoughts. I liked it a lot more than the first one, basically.
Cody, have you read Blood Air by Emily Wenzel?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, don't. If you think that there's convenient witches in this one, just don't. Do it.
Okay. I will.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Jade, what are your non-spoilery thoughts?
Yeah.
This is the book that made me fall in love with the series. As I've already said, I DNF'd Truthwitch once the first time, read it again, liked it enough, continued on to this one, adored this one, but my heart goes to Iseult, and as Cody's just said, the way that Iseult develops in this one and learns some things about herself and who she is just makes my little heart sing. I love it. I love her, the journey she goes on. Don't get me wrong, there are things that I don't particularly love about it, but it's just so compelling and so intriguing to me for Iseult's reason. Although this book is supposed to be all about Merrick, Iseult.
Yeah, like I really like.
Be my fave. Go on.
I really liked Vivia in this and Merrick, but I think my favorite part, like plot wise, was Adrian. Well, not plot wise, just like I guess character development was Iseult and Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they change the most throughout this one. But that being said, I do find the Hellbards quite intriguing and why they're involved and what they have to do with everything. If anything, I would say in this book, Merrick is quite possibly one of the least interesting, considering it's supposed to be his book. But then again, with Safi, although Safi doesn't do a lot, I really like Vanice and the little glimpses we got of her in Truthwitch compared to a lot more of her being a powerful empress in this one. Whoops. Becca can defend Merrick.
Love him.
Or Michael in the comments. Like,
Although I will say that. And I don't think, well, I know Ashley's read the Grisha series, but a long time ago. But the last live show, I compared Merrick to Nikolai because he is a lot like Nikolai. Did anybody else see the parallels between Nikolai's story arc and Merrick's story arc? Because I was
mention it, yeah. That's probably why I like him so much.
Obviously, with like Nikolai is kind of an archetype, and Merrick fits into that archetype. But then with the stuff that happens to Merrick in this book and the stuff that happens to Nikolai in the Grishaverse, I was like, this is a bit a bit similar.
Yeah, I have a thing for like valiant and broken men.
Yeah.
So like,
With a bit of banter.
aye, yeah, exactly.
They are.
Paladin who?
Lots of people agreeing with that.
It really does not like Merrick.
Oops.
I think the difference between Merrick and the typical tropey brooding male YA character is that he's not got dark brown hair. Like Nikolai.
One thing I will say, like,
I'm sure he did have dark brown hair before it all got burnt off in an explosion, though, right?
Maybe I'm just kind of projecting because he reminds me so much of Nikolai. In my head, I just picture him as Nikolai. That could be it.
I'm pretty sure he's like bald at this point.
I've took the bookmark out because I finished the book, but he had like mid brown hair on the bookmark. Merrick wishes he was charismatic.
True, it could be a bit more charismatic to be on Nikolai's level, but I see the resemblance.
I want that tattooed.
Yeah, valiant and broken. Well, valiant and broken characters, really. The more shit they go through, the more I like them. I mean, Fitz. Like,
oh God, yeah.
I mean, fair. Okay.
Falkio, Jade. Said it for Falkio too.
And Merrick here in the chat. How dare you bring this slander to my channel? Rude.
I feel like these two lines summed up very perfectly. What are you, angry?
It's the rage. It's the family rage. Hereditary rage.
Like, is this is this some other strain of magic I don't know about? Because they're just like, we have rage in our blood, and I'm just like, okay, but legit, or is this just like a thing, like a metaphor that you're channeling?
Yeah.
There was something described as was it the Niha formation near the end, and I was like, what is that?
It was like the weird stomping thing they were doing, and I'm like, are you guys okay? I couldn't quite picture that properly. But then again, when it comes to Merrick and everything he does when it comes to his magic, I almost can't take that seriously because it's just like, and then I flew, and I'm just like, he's off, he's gone. Like, I can't see the picture of someone just projecting themselves into the sky as like anything serious. I just can't do it. I think that was because of the first book, though, where one of the very first things we have is Sappy just being launched around the sky. Like, it's really funny.
Yeah, like he has a reason for being broody in this book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We won't go into that, though, because spoilers, but we will discuss his reason and what we think of that.
I'm so annoyed. I've just been holding a page so that I can reference it later, and I've just closed the book and put it down. I'm like, great.
Find it again.
Yeah, I found it. I'm good now.
Brilliant. What do we think about the added perspectives in this one? Although I'm not sure we actually get a Vanis perspective, but Vivia as well. I think we said in the first one that there was potentially too many POVs, and we get even more in this one.
I really liked her because something that I realized and something that I think helped my understanding of this book is realizing that every perspective is an unreliable narrator. Because we have believed her to be a villain. But then as soon as we get her perspective, you realize that no, she's not actually a villain. You're just seeing her exclusively from Merrick's perspective, where he has a lot of, like, they've got a lot of baggage between them. And it's like sibling rivalry and trauma, just like all rolled into one. So I really liked that and adding new, and I liked that she painted Merrick out to be a villain as well, because obviously we didn't see him as that in the first book. So yeah, I liked her perspective a lot.
Yeah. Anyone else? Liking Vivia? We're liking Vivia, yeah?
Yeah.
What about Vanis? Any opinions on Vanis?
She seems cool. Just don't have enough from her yet, I don't feel like.
I was going to say, because in this one, she didn't say too much. She just kind of went, well, she didn't go along with things. Obviously, like, she was in the same position as Sappy was and whatever. we basically saw her grieving, be kidnapped, and make a lot of things out of iron. And that's all I associate with her, like just, oh, new iron thing, have a shield, enjoy. That's pretty much my thought process with her at the minute.
What about Cam?
Oh, love.
Cam's an addition. Cody?
Love. He's just
Why?
adorable. He's just adorable, and he softens Merrick up when Merrick's being grumpy, broody boy, and I just love their dynamic. Oh, I'm spilling tea. I literally spilled tea. We can all agree that we love Cam, right?
With Cam, I felt like Cam was a lot like Ryber, and I don't know whether it's just because I forgot about Ryber because it's been a while since I read Truthwitch, but I felt like Cam was in there to fulfill the role that Ryber left by not being there. But now they're all together.
Mm-hmm.
So
with both of them, I just felt like they were there to give Merrick some kind of companion to talk to. Because I was just like, why though?
actually, yeah, no, I feel that.
They just popped up, and then all of a sudden it was like, and now we're off all together, and it's like, oh, okay, bye, enjoy.
Chiseled Cheetah writes, how do we feel about the chiseled cheetah? Oh, bad.
I'm liking the tension with Safi, and I feel like that could be something, but also Merrick, though.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, I don't like that she seems to be being more and more attracted to him because Merrick.
Mm-hmm.
I just never got the Safi and Merrick thing. I'm still not convinced. Which was difficult at the start of this book because obviously of how we start, and they're both just like, I'm so grieving, and I'm just like, you knew each other 2 seconds.
This is true. Also, Merrick can do better than Safi, I'm just going to say it.
I mean,
she's alright, she's just not my fave.
My compared more than Safi and Merrick.
Is that I don't ship Safi with anyone. Like, I'm just like, not convinced. We're fine.
Yeah, I'd be happy if it was just like no romance, really, and it was just more of a found family kind of vibe, and Safi and Isiel are just being besties together again.
Leanne is literally just here for the tea. I think Aaron is as well, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Safi and Vanis at the bottom there.
Oh, that would be interesting.
And Helene as well, with shipping Safi and Vanis.
It's funny though, because as much as I'm just like not vibing with Safi and Merrick, Isiel and Lydia, I'm just like, yeah.
Isiel and Adrian. I think we all feel that one though, right? No one disagrees there.
It's not necessarily, it wasn't subtle, but just how it just happened. Like, they were arguing 1 second, then he was getting annoyed because she wouldn't react to him, literally just like pinning her against a tree and whatever, and she'd just be like, what's your point? And then all of a sudden, like, they're running while holding hands, and I'm just like,
I was taken off, like, I didn't realize that he's young. For some reason in the first book I read him as being older than them, so this was like a nice development. I'm like, oh,
is he a bit older? One of them's a bit older, and I can't remember which one.
I think we actually got ages in this one for, I know that Vivi is 23 and Merrick is 20, I think. We got Adrian's age as well.
I'm pretty sure Adrian was 23 as well.
Yeah.
They're all sort of around there. The slander and sounding. Dear. I feel like there's probably not much more we can say without going spoilery. I'm eager to hear people's spoilery thoughts. I want to know all about this plot twist from you and this item thing. So if you don't want to be spoiled for the book, now's probably a good time to leave. However, if you DNF'd and want to be spoiled because you don't plan on continuing, feel free to stay.
All you teasers Get out.
There will be a lot of my quiet smugness because there are still 2 books that I have read, so I know things. And I feel like a lot of the things that are going to be discussed here are things that I'm going to know. So if I'm just sat like this, ignore me. But yes, goodbye to those of you who have not read it. And Becca, talk to us about this plot twist.
Oh, the plot twist that I didn't see coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that Merrick's dead.
Oh. I kind of figured that.
So like I have like lots of things. Like when he kept saying it was dirt, I wrote something about it not being dirt and it to do with like the shadow stuff, I think. But then later on, I was reading notes on the Well of Ascension, so that's why I'm not getting it. And then later on, when we were talking about the threads, I thought that the reason why he had the shadowy stuff was because Esme was talking about threads and how she cuts most of them, but leaves some of them. So I thought that she left the thread to Cullen that made them brothers, and I thought that he was getting the shadowiness through that, but that's actually what was keeping him alive. So I didn't see that come in. And I was
Did
shocked.
we see Cullen not being dead or being dead but not being like dead coming?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm convinced Cullen's gone. That was too quick of a thing to be like.
Yeah.
Did we see Cullen coming back as the Fury?
Not necessarily by name, but I knew he was this weird shadow person that rocking up around Merrick.
Well, is it him? Because I thought that all that stuff was to do with the Raider King. And I thought that the Raider King was like reanimating corpses, essentially. And then it's actually all to do with him, and Cullen's just one of the ones that was killed. No?
I don't know.
Poker face. I see it as Esme works for the Raider King. Esme cuts threads, kills people, brings them back as puppets, hence puppeteer. So it is through the Raider King, but it's through Esme. Esme is the one that really holds all the power here. How is she being manipulated by the Raider King? Because she's the one in control. So it's not Cullen. It's Cullen being played by Esme, therefore by the Raider King.
Is Esme maybe related to the Raider King then, I'm assuming? Like daughter or something, maybe?
I kind of thought they just had like an alliance going on, like whatever he's trying to accomplish, she's on board for it.
Yeah, it could be.
We do know who the son of the Raider King is, though. Yes? We have all picked up on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
I mean, they'd be siblings, which would be interesting if that was a thing.
Oh yeah.
Not that we know of. This is a Cody theory.
Yeah, it's not very.
Fact.
So this is Merrick being controlled by Esme, assumedly kind of, but only through Cullen, right?
I think Cullen's being controlled by Esme. I'm not sure, poker face, if Esme necessarily knows that they're still connected.
Yeah, because there is actually quite a lot of stuff that she doesn't know that I feel like she should.
Yeah.
I am just intrigued by Esme in general. Have we established how old she is? Because to me, she sounds really young, but again, everybody did, so.
I think she is quite young.
I think it's the general, like, her attitude with Isyol, because obviously she's, like, so excitable around Isyol, and she's like, I was trying to do all these things for you, and she seems very, like, I'm trying to do a good thing, but doesn't actually see everything that, like, how bad everything is that she's doing.
Yeah, I think Esme's perspective there is she's never met anyone that can do what she can do. So it's very much a, oh my god, potential friend.
One of the conclusions that I was trying to draw before we got the reveal that Merrick's actually dead was that I thought that maybe she'd snapped some of his strings, like she had the blacksmith in the story that she told, but not all of them, which is why he was still kind of himself, but he had the shadows spreading. So like I was picking up on stuff happening, it's just him actually being dead. No, didn't get that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't think I would have either. It would have just been a something's infected him sort of thing rather than a being dead. Oh dear.
Same stuff. I only read it last week and I'm already like, this is new information I'm hearing from Becca for the first time.
I think Esme definitely could know a lot more. Which brings me back to, how is she being manipulated? What has the Raider King got on her to keep her in place?
Well, it's like with the connections, if she doesn't know, if she's controlling Cullen and doesn't know that he's still connected to Merrick, but she does kind of know it with Israel. Like, she can sense other people, like she sensed Adrian immediately, but is that because she could see in her head, or did they have connecting threads at that point?
See, he doesn't have any threads either. Where have his threads gone, and why is he normal?
Who? Adrian?
Yeah.
He has threads. Everyone has threads. Azil just can't see them.
No, but Esme said that he's threadless.
Oh, entirely.
Maybe she just can't see them as well.
Because she was freaking out about Israel being with him and was like, he's got no threads, he's dangerous.
Maybe she's just saying that because she knows him and they're related. Going back to my theory. Also, though, maybe the Raider King has like some of Esme's family kidnapped or something and she's working for him for some like reason like that. I don't know.
See, in the theory that I had about Cullen being the Raider King, I'm pretty sure Cullen said that she cuts the strings and he picks them up before they disappear. And I thought he was the Raider King, but in Cullen's body, like with all of these things that he's possessed kind of thing. So that's the impression that I got.
Sorry, I was just going to say, maybe this is a reason why we don't have a glossary of different types of witches, because then we'd be able to like guess based on clues from the
And
text.
that's exactly what I said in the first book. We don't know what Azil is. Having a glossary would either be wrong or spoil us.
Yeah, true. Maybe it's the same case for the Raider King. Maybe he has some kind of power, but we just don't know what it is yet. Maybe something new we've not heard of before.
It was like at this point in the story, I was like, is the main, not necessarily the main issue of the series that's going to connect it all, but one definite theme that has been apparent is that magic is not what they think at all. Everything they've ever known about magic has been thrown out the window because everyone's a new thing. Like, something new is happening. It's like, oh, you died and now you've come back. So you've been cleaved, but now you're back. And this is going on. Like, you're not a thread witch or a weaver witch. And I'm just like, is anyone actually following the rules anymore?
I think one of the things that
It wasn't Cullen that said the thing about picking up the threads.
Oh.
It was Linde, Sarah Linde, the
Yeah.
guy, after he was possessed by something. So could well be Raider King inhabiting bodies of said dead.
I feel like the overall things that I took from this book is that everything that's going wrong in everyone's perspectives is all to do with the Raider King. So he's like the big thing that's going on. And the other thing, I forgot. Oh, the main themes of this book, through all of the perspectives in different ways, is people with no threads. And like threads that are weird and not how threads should be. In everyone's
Back
perspective.
to Esme is the one that has all of the power here because she's the only person that can do that. Well, she's not, because now we know Azil can as well, but Azil didn't know that.
I think I wrote notes on the Hellbards. But considering I finished this today, I'm struggling.
But when they take their nooses off, the shadows almost suffocate them, whatever sort of shadow magic that is. It doesn't like overtake their body the way that the part cleaved does, but it could perhaps be a link between the Emperor and, I don't know, a puppeteer of some sort.
Did Did we see the scene where Safi put 2 and 2 together in terms of the noose thing? Because she started talking about how Aaron had like lifted it up for a few seconds and then put it back on. So did I just miss that? I presume we saw it in the first
Safi, when Caden has his off and the Empress has like pinned him down and he can't get it back on, he starts to suffocate, and then she's like, "Oh shit, this is why." Here, have it. Yeah.
Something I have, a question that I wrote down is, why can't Adrian and Isiel read each other? Because he can't scent her blood and she can't see his threads. And does it have anything to do with why Safi can't read the Hellbards? Because she can't use her magic on them because it's being blocked, assumedly, by the noose.
By the noose, yeah.
But my theory, I think, with those is that something's happened to their threads, and the only thing keeping them together is the noose, because they're heretics. And I picked up on that before it was revealed that they were the heretics, and now they're the Hellbards. So I reckon they were taken, the threads were cut, and the noose holds them together somehow. But that obviously severs them from their magic.
That is entirely the assumption I had come to with the Hellbards, yeah.
And then if they can't use their magic because they've got no threads, that would be why other magic doesn't affect them.
Now, they mentioned the fact as well that they're already dead, so that would also go into the whole situation.
But I don't know how that works because it's the Emperor that's controlling them, not the Raider King, unless the Raider King is the Emperor.
That was my theory. I was like, maybe they're brothers.
I come to perhaps there is another puppeteer somewhere that he's linked to, because I don't see Esme being linked to the Emperor, but I could be wrong on that. I've only read 2 more books. There's more to come. I don't know everything.
Many not dead people.
One of the things that I kept laughing at, I was just like, I'm pretty sure
Half the characters are dead.
I was like, Adrian is the only one who doesn't have somebody else thinking that they're dead at some point. Even Isiel just pretends to be dead at one point.
Well, that's only because, poor baby, nobody cares if he's dead.
True.
If they assumed he's dead, they wouldn't even think about it because they probably want him dead. He chased them for an entire book and tried to kill them.
I will say it takes some of the stakes away. Because if anyone dies now, I'm gonna be like, well, they're gonna come back. Everyone's dead.
But they can't come back if they're dead. They only they can only come back if it's been Weaver witched, not necessarily killed.
And they can go poof like that one did that they cut off his head.
Okay, you can go poof.
What was I don't remember what I was gonna say. Yeah, I've lost it. Oh, with the chisel cheetah thing being set up with Safi and him, I reckon that Merrick's going to have a tragic end at the end of this if he's dead. But then he's going somewhere to see if he can fix it. But how do you fix being dead?
If someone took the threads away, can someone put the threads back?
Isiel will do it, probs.
And now there's going to be a lot of embroidery going on, right? Just threads.
Yeah.
Put them back together. It's all right. It's fine.
See, this is the thing as well, because there's dead and there's having your threads cut. The different kinds of dead. And this is why I still stand by could really have done with a solid concrete explanation of what a thread is at any point in the books. I'm kind of going on what other people have told me that threads are, and that has helped a lot with me grasping it. But with all of the deadness, but also you can be dead by having your threads cut. Because I would assume you have a thread that tethers you to life. And if that is cut, then you're dead. But then apparently you're not.
But what if you cut that thread, but you don't cut the other threads? If you cut the life thread, you're dead. But you still have the threads connecting you to Asmeric.
Ghosts, that's what happens.
They're all ghosts. We see with Merrick, the thing that's keeping him alive is his connection to Cullen. So if you have your life thread cut but not your other threads cut, you'll be dead, but not dead.
Okay, so if he kills Cullen, then he's gone as well then.
Yes, we did have that explanation. If one of them dies, they're both gone.
Mm.
Yeah. Unless Ryber has an answer and can undead him. Sew him back to life.
I'm just like, take the threads and just like scrunch them all into a knot. Because I don't have a clue what's going on. It's like wet.
Yeah.
And then as Becca said, the threads
what?
aren't as they're meant to.
The really weird specific thing that's not even a big deal that like I thought I'd completely missed was, you know, when I said that some of the things that she writes are really subtle. It's the fact that Isiel has the coins.
The talents, yeah.
And I was like, no, she doesn't have the coins. Like, that's just like, you can't just say that she's got the coins if it never said that she had the coins. But then like I went back and found it, and it literally says
it was when she was
found Matthew's abandoned coffee shop. There'd been food in the kitchen and clean water too. She even found a sack of silver coins in the cellar. Like, that's it. She's just like scouting. She finds some food. She finds some money. She's on her way. But the coins that she has are the coins. So like, there's no attention drawn.
Coins get from where Adrian left them to Matthew's coffee shop.
This makes me think that Matthew is, I think, did I write down that he's fragrant or something? Because I couldn't remember what the exact smell was. Oh, Matthew took the coins. Is he the lingering smell? Is what I wrote.
He's the one that Adrian's just like, why can I just smell fresh air? Like, what?
Yeah, I couldn't remember what the smell was, so lingering smell is what he is.
True.
It's the way that like we barely know what a thread is or like how they work, and then as Becca said in this book, they're all acting weird. Like literally there's somebody in every perspective in which the threads are acting weird, whether it's like Safi apparently has a tell for when she's doing her magic that she didn't know about and still apparently doesn't know about. And you know.
Oh dear.
So everyone's pretty solid that Matthew is the smell then. We think Matthew's the smell?
Well, they were found in his coffee shop, so I'm going on that assumption. But anybody could have gone there that's working with that faction. Because that was like Matthew, I'm assuming, is one of like the leaders or somebody who's like high up in this political faction with like Safi's uncle and stuff. And is it Habib? So like anybody who's working with them could have put them there, but like it's Matthew's coffee shop. So
Holly's just said, can someone remind me who Ryber is? Ryber is Cullen's girlfriend, I guess.
Heartthread. Yeah.
Who conveniently went missing for a while and then just came back like, I have the answers, let's go. That was her part of this book. Don't know where she's been. But...
Will it help if I tell you that Sightwitch is Ryber's book?
Yes.
oh, I knew that. But
so a lot of these mysteries around where Ryber is, what Ryber knows, how Ryber's involved at all.
I kind of guess we would figure it out just because like Merrick at the end is just like, I've forgiven her for everything, like wherever she's gone, and I'm just like, well, she was going somewhere for a reason, so.
I only know that because as soon as I started reading Truthwitch, I wanted to know who all the characters were for every book, and I figured out that Ryber was the Sightwitch, so Sightwitch would be Ryber.
I thought Leopold was Mr. Firefresh.
When is Leopold?
Good question. Why would they want the coins aside from the fact that the money? But they've gone out of their way. Like they followed him to where he hid them, then took them. Yeah, as well. It's kind of weird that we just dropped the uncle plot in an insurrection plot line. I mean, I feel like they have a lot going on here. And they're all kind of away from that because that plot line has kind of been dropped in terms of Safi got kidnapped and taken away. So there's no need for that plot line to exist right now. I guess they're going to come back to it. But it also feels kind of weird that everyone's in like constant life-threatening peril, and Safi's like, I'm gonna go and help this Empress, and I'll be back later with some money.
She's apparently being chased in the process. Like they were sending ships after her and stuff, but she's just chilling. And I'm like, you've got an entire empire coming after you, hon.
Oh, we need to talk about Owl.
How do we feel about Owl?
I will say, she is one of the things that definitely took me by surprise, because it's very rare that you just come across a literal child and they stick around. And it's just like, oh, you're coming, are you? Okay. And then Mountain Bat.
Oh, the Mountain Bat thing was cool. That's the only like real feeling I have about Owl. I'm very intrigued, but obviously that's going to happen in later books. Probably Bloodwitch. I think Bloodwitch is going to be mainly Adrian and Owl. And then Izzy will be there as well.
You know the paperbacks have the things on them.
Mm.
The thing on Bloodwitch is a mountain bat.
Oh. Not an owl. I noticed it was only one of the later occurrences that I actually picked up on it, so I don't have any specific references pinned, but rooks are a recurring theme through Adrian's perspective.
I'm pretty sure, is it Esme that mentioned something about rooks and owls?
Yes, they're in a palace, and she says this. It's when she's communicating with Izyul, and Izyul's in this old palace, and Esme says you must be in one of the old places, and she says the statues indicate that you are, but are they rooks or owls? Which really confused me, because a rook doesn't look like an owl. A rook looks like a crow. But then the kid turned up called Owl, and Adrian keeps going on about this rook that's following him around, or that he keeps seeing. Yeah, Jake, you do have a terrible book.
Yeah, so bad.
But it doesn't matter, because I don't have... This series has had nothing to do with birds until a random child called Owl turned up. So, like, I have no idea what, like, the significance of the rook.
I just saw Bex say, precious baby.
This is mainly just my way of telling you I know something that you don't know.
We're so subtle about it too.
I'm not trying to be.
A rook's a crow, isn't it? Or like a type of crow?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were saying rock.
The rook is Owl's mum.
The rook could be the Raider King spy. But then it just feels like if the thing that got me with Owl coming in with this mountain bat and also the rook is that animals and animal magic I don't think has ever been mentioned at all throughout the series so far. And we're at the end of book 2 and now it's like animal magic.
Well, that's the thing, because Izyul was just like, she has Earthwitch threads and is causing earthquakes, but she can control a mountain bat. What's going on?
Is she the one causing the earthquakes everywhere? There's a lot of earthquakes in this book, and at first I thought they were the origin wells.
I mean, the earthquake with the awakening of an origin well would be the origin well, but the random earthquakes that seem to be following them around, we think is Owl, because she's an Earthwitch, and her being an Earthwitch possibly has something to do with her control of the mountain bat, but it's not all animals. It just seems to be the mountain bat. So
yeah, the mountain bat was a mythical creature. They also had the big firebird, which I can't remember what it was called. Firehawk?
Firehawks, yes.
And the fox, the sea fox in the last book. I also wondered if the mythical creatures had anything to do with the origin wells.
I think
an animal per well.
Cool.
I think so, and I think because some of those wells are still alive and well, so perhaps those creatures connected to them are still around, and then the reawakening of them could perhaps bring some of these others back. I don't know. I'm theorizing at this point as well.
Where was the other earthquake? There was some where Adrian and Izyul were. there was some there was one in Nebrovna, and there was another earthquake in this book, and I can't remember where it was. Because if the one in Nebrovna could be to do with the origin well.
I think the one in New Brevna was to do with the cave-in in the like under city, wasn't it? There was
I thought that caused it.
Which is then likely to do with the well, yeah.
And then the bat, assumedly, may have something to do with the wells. And that causes earthquakes. And I can't remember what the other earthquake was.
I'm just anticipating people riding this bat at some point. Cut out the travel, skip across the ocean on a bat. It's fine.
Yeah, there was the discussion about them possibly not being the Karawan. And somebody just said, what if it's, I can't find it, but what if it's Izyll and not Safi? I feel like it might be going that way. Because it was made a big point about how Izyll wasn't going to be in it. So I think that Izyll is and maybe not Safi.
But then they're meant to be a pair, aren't they? Or did I just miss that?
I think it will be both of them. Again, don't know.
But then Adrian said that it was only half awakened, so why would it only be half awakened if both of them were there?
Because I think Adrian at that point isn't necessarily saying it's half awakened. He's saying, I don't believe in my faith. I don't believe that the Karawan are an actual thing. Therefore, it cannot be fully awakened because this isn't real.
This is what I mean about all of the characters are very unreliable narrators.
Well, we see him completely lose his faith when Ivrain is like, you have your purpose. You are a monk. And he's like, nah, I don't believe in that.
Scarlett just said we're assuming Adrian knows what he's talking about.
Which he absolutely doesn't.
Izyll maybe hadn't used her void powers. So
yeah, I mean, she didn't know she had them.
I will say because obviously we were kind of just like, she's probably a Weaver Witch and she's been told she's a Weaver Witch bridesmaid. The point that it actually happened was one of those where I was like, wait, I need to go back and reread, because she literally just turned up and like just went that was that, and I was like, wait, was that her? Like, I thought for a moment that Esme had just rocked up because it just mentioned that she came and chomped someone's thread, and I was like, oh.
But Esme had taught her how to.
Yeah. So I'm just like, she did the thing.
She lives somewhere. I'm going to assume she's gone back to a monastery somewhere. Maybe.
She might be rallying, like, is she a monk?
Yes.
Or a nun? Yeah. She might be going rallying them because she believes that they're the Karawan.
She'd be the person gallivanting around being like, the back!
Although a lot of the monks already think that anyway because of the whole lighthouse scene when they all run away and they're like, we can't attack them, they're the Karawan. If we remember that scene from the first book. But yeah, everyone's dumb. Bottom line.
Oh, she cleaved a fire witch, which we're told they're the witches that don't cleave, meaning she may have different abilities.
But then again, I had to reread it to see if she did.
Something that I did think about Safi in this one, I don't know whether she's going to have some sort of moment or like, I don't know, but I think that her powers are very weak in comparison to everybody else. Like she's in terms of all the stuff that everyone else can do, especially because Izyll's powers are maturing. Well, she's actually using them properly. Safi just doesn't. She's not very strong at all. Because what good is telling
what we said about Truth Witch in the first place? She can't even trust her own powers, and she admits that she can't. Like, if the person telling said truth or lie believes it enough, so does Havoc. It's completely useless. Why is she so desirable? completely useless.
I get how she's useful in like a political situation, but that's literally it. Like everybody else can get themselves out of a life or death situation, and all she can do is like, I guess she can tell if somebody's going to hurt her or not, but that doesn't help her get out of the situation. That just means that she knows if she's doomed.
I'm gonna say I'm intrigued because she's had a few instances in this book where they've been about to enter danger of some sort, and she's just thought wrong. Like there's something wrong with the place. So I'm like, could that develop in some way? Otherwise, maybe we've just not seen her in a situation where it's particularly useful. Because obviously, so far she's just been running away from people.
Something, the thing that her uncle kept saying in the first book that was repeated towards the end of this, he kept telling her that she has the power to make or break the world, but she doesn't have the initiative. So I'm intrigued I'm guessing there must be something more to her. Is there a possibility that she's not a truth witch? Like, Isil isn't a thread witch? And they've both been lied to because they're actually much stronger?
Possibly, because we haven't come across any other truth witch and no one really knows anything about them besides, like, tell if someone's lying.
Which made me think that maybe she's already special because she's a truth witch. Like, she's already rare. She's an early warning system.
It's thing that people like initiative thing. It keeps coming up that, you know, people are just like, oh, you're too headstrong. You keep throwing yourself into these things, and then they're like, oh no, actually, you can think things through. So I'm just like, there's got to be something going on there, like her impulsiveness and whatever's got to be.
Maybe she'll be like a powerful psychic or something eventually, or she'll be able to compel people, like she can read their minds or something. I don't know. Hopefully.
I will say as well that I enjoy Isil and Safi a lot better when they're not together. I like them on their own a lot better than when they're together. And then that bit where they were together briefly, where right at the end, where Isil realized that she could contact her, both annoyed me straight away. Like they're much better on their own.
I'm intrigued to see how that connection, like if that develops their powers in any particular way or whatever.
Ash just said, what do they get? Powers. I think, is it a prophecy? Are they supposed to remake? One's supposed to end the world and the other's supposed to remake it. Is that it? Am I making that up?
No, I think it was when they're together, they have the power to reawaken the older magics.
Yeah.
Which is why they can reawaken the wells.
Oh, so they're like, they remake the world and they bring all of the old stuff back. Okay. Yeah.
Did we get, I don't know if I just missed it, but there was the thing with Vivia, how she kept being like, oh, all these magic pillar things are going out one by one. Did we get anything with that, or?
We didn't get an answer to that. But there's the suspicion that that's to do with the origin well in New Grosvenor.
This is a very good question that I haven't thought about. What's the end goal of healing the origin wells? What do they do? Aside from make magic stronger?
Michael's just said they will remake the wells and all the mythical beings will come back.
Possibly. Oh, they can bring back all the dead people. But if the dead people weren't dying or not dying, then there'd be no need to heal them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wasn't there as well where like some guy could control dead people specifically? Because he wanted lots of people to die so that they could then rid.
That was the puppet lady, Esme. At the end in the city, she was gathering people together to cleave them.
To make a puppet army.
Are these the dead people or the dead people?
Oh, the origin wells made more witches, possibly.
Yeah.
I also don't get, because it sounds so far as if it's a hereditary thing with the, like, obviously Israel's come from her family, we've got hers. But why does it get different powers? Like Vivia and Merrick don't have the same.
I don't think any of the magic is hereditary. I think it is completely random. I don't think anyone within a family has like consistently the same magic.
They do. To be fair, though, the Nebrevna is assumedly a coastal town or city or country, I guess, that relies on naval trade.
Mhm.
And if so, wind and water is the perfect combination for the purpose that the country needs. So they are still even though the powers are different, it is still somewhat relevant.
Probably because they came from that well, like originally or whatever. The well in that area was like the water one or whatever.
Although there was a big point made in this book about how they're not supposed to be there and they settled the land, and that everything that they know about the lore and stuff comes from the people who were there before, which has something to do with the Raider King. But it also talked about about the mother and father, where the mother is the one who's actually the true queen, and the king was married into the family, so maybe one's water and one's wind.
Maybe. I like how I'm more confused after this conversation than I was when I finished the book.
Exactly what happened last time.
Also, there's a family of annoying plant witches.
Is that where Owl comes from? She was an Earth Witch, apparently. I've got no idea where she's come from or anything yet, so don't even know her name. She hasn't said anything.
It did mention in the first book briefly that they do have 2 wells in Brevna, I think.
There is the well that they know of in New Brevna, and they think there is a hidden secret well that they don't know about that they think is in New Brevna.
Which Vivia found, right? She
Or
doesn't
is
know where it is.
of finding, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be 5 books for 5 wells?
I don't think so.
We've come back to the chaos. These live shows don't help us at all. They make everything worse.
They really do.
Now I'm wondering if there's more wells, or is it just like one for each element and then the void one?
I'm just like, who said there was 5? Who are we trusting?
Yeah, that's what I'm literally now looking at the map thinking, like, is that real?
Where are we getting all these details from? Because so far, everything we've ever known is wrong.
Yeah, it's true.
It's mentioned that the Void Well's tied to the Niha family. Did they have void magic? Maybe it's not tied to maybe the Void Well is tied to the people who should live there, but the Niha settled it. The Raider King is supposed to, well, he said, the Raider King said, assuming it was the Raider King, that, because he said, was it Cullen? I don't even know. Somebody said something about not calling me. I've marked it. What will I have marked it as history? Probably. That's not the right one. I mean, tabbing is great, but then you have so many tabs that you can't actually find them.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't that fun.
I think there's just 5 walls on the map, but like that doesn't mean there aren't some that aren't.
Yeah, I mean the hidden well isn't on there, is it?
No.
So then, what are they for then? Earth, fire, water, air, and what? If it's not the void one.
The light. What's Safi?
Aether.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I might as a plot point. He said something like before. It was Cullen because he said about when you used to call me by my true name, the Fury, that was their land.
Can't have been that far back, surely.
I think I was a bit confused by what was going on with Cullen in terms of his speeches, because he also said like to Merrick that he has to be on the throne and like to restore the rightful thing on the throne, and I'm just like, I'm confused.
I think he's just hyping his friend up.
Yeah, I was just like,
He's just being a hype man.
Prince Merrick was sent away for a while and he just came back and was just like, hi.
Oh, I found it. That song isn't New Brevnon, you know. The voice was so close, a claw scraped down Merrick's spine. The Fool brothers are older than this city, their tale brought down from the mountains, back when I had a different name, back before I became the saint you call the Fury. I can't even remember why I was looking for this now. That was helpful.
There were some other saints mentioned as well. I'm wondering if they're going to play a part in the rest of the book.
The book being released this year is the one before the last one. I think there'll be one more.
I believe so.
Didn't they mention in Truthwitch that Void was the only one without a known well?
Yes, because they didn't think it was real.
They don't think Voidwitch is a real, do they?
Well, they didn't until they met Adrian.
Adrian started rampaging around the country.
But then he's like pretty well known. Like, we have a large cast of characters and the side characters. Everyone knows he's a blood witch. So why do everyone, like, why isn't it known that a blood witch exists?
I don't know how like secretive the monks are, because obviously he was there for a hot minute and they just accepted him because apparently that's what they do. So I'm just like, well, they clearly knew, but did word not get out?
I'm wondering if he's actually the Raider King's son, like by blood.
Who?
Adrian, or whether he's adopted. Or like not even adopted, more like taken in and kind of groomed, I guess, to fulfill a role. Because he talks about like slavery and stuff and like, I can't believe my dad's done this. And like, he seems to have had a pretty traumatic childhood. Not somebody, like, he doesn't seem like somebody who had a stable parental relationship when he was growing up, which makes me think that the Raider King maybe found him and took him in and isn't actually his dad.
We're all just looking at Jade's face.
I don't know. It's not like Blood Witch is Adrian's book.
Thanos style parenting.
I can say I think it was Ash that just said, look at the map in Blood Witch, and I'm like, no, because theories, we have to theory before we get the answer.
Yeah. Yeah, he has a lot of flashbacks of the mother saying, run, my child.
That's what I was talking about, the worlds being geographic and the original people being displaced. But then everything that the Brevnons believe then would be a lie if the law comes from the mountain people and the people who lived there before. It's not actually theirs. So like what's their thing? Maybe that's the thing, because Nebrevna is associated with water and the water well, and the Void Witches have gone, so they've just assumed that that area is associated with water when it's not. It's associated with void magic. But all of that history and law has been rewritten by the Nebrevnan history.
Seems like a solid theory. I don't know. There's still two things I haven't read.
That is some information, yes.
Becca said, could the Raider King have been trying to assemble all the Void Witches to make an army? Do we know about any other theoretical types of Void Witch that we haven't seen yet?
I don't believe we do.
No.
He could just be a shitty dad. True, but then why does... I mean, Adrian doesn't seem to like him very much, but he does still seem to have some level of allegiance to him.
People are saying that they assume he was...
Oh, Cursed Witch. Yes, we've met a Cursed Witch.
Yeah.
Because someone said, assumed he was stolen because of how he felt towards Owl, and then that one.
I don't think he's fully Nomancy, though, is he? Is he half Nomancy?
He
Does he really his mom?
back to his mother during the scene with Owl, so I assumed he'd been stolen himself.
Yeah.
However, it is possible to be kidnapped by your father by blood.
True.
I swear to God, if that really annoying guy that I can't even remember the name of that was controlling Izyult's Namatsi tribe is anywhere linked, I'm going to be really annoyed.
Corlin, he's the curse witch, isn't he?
I'm literally vibrating from spoilers. I might have to leave.
You are. Creepy ass Corlin.
Colin, the fuck was he doing? I thought he grew up in a Namatsi tribe, but now he's friends with the Raider King.
See, the Raider King and the Namatsi tribe seem connected in a lot of ways because he's got this guy who's his friend who's currently like a cult leader within a Namatsi tribe. And then his son is half Namatsi, and there's something to do with slavery involved. I'm wondering, especially because Izyult is Namatsi, whether the Namatsi tribe are so emotionless because they're trying to keep people like Adrian and Izyult under wraps. Maybe if you don't access your emotions properly, you don't have as much of a grip on your power. So like their powers wouldn't manifest and nobody would know they existed.
Pretty sure we talked in the first one about how Izyult might not be related to the person she kept calling mom, because obviously there was a weird thing where like she seemed to prefer this other girl more and like be motherly towards this one girl, and she just felt very different and couldn't do the whole emotionless thing, and now we know why, because she's not.
I don't know if the emotionless thing is connected to the Namatsis more than it is the Thread Witches, because really the only Namatsis we see are the Thread Witches. And not all Namatsis are Thread Witches, obviously.
Esme's Namatsi as well.
Who is anybody anyway? We know nothing.
Yeah, I feel like I need to reread Truth Witch and this book again for all of the things that I'm missing.
We think it's because Witch Shadow is Izyult's book and saying what type of witch she is. Is that an answer to something, Dan? Has someone asked why Witch Shadow isn't called something else?
I'm scrolling, I'm looking.
Oh yes, Chloe would have asked. I think.
Who is anybody anyway? We know nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, Chloe asked, we're on book 2, but I want to know why Witch Shadow is Witch Shadow rather than Shadow Witch, etc. Which is, yeah, because it's Izyult's book and we still don't really know what she is.
Yeah, but I think we're leading. See, this is the thing, because like I'm assuming now that she's a Weaver Witch. In which case, why? Now I'm thinking she's not, because otherwise it could just be called Weaver Witch, and then if somebody saw the book release,
Truth Witch.
but it wouldn't, because I didn't know when I started Truth Witch who the Windwitch was or anything. I just knew that the books were named after witches.
Fair. My theory is that she's a Void Witch. Full blown.
Oh, like that's interesting actually, because we got, is it Styx who's a water witch?
Is a water witch.
And I didn't notice until then there was a differentiation between like a tide witch and a water witch.
Yeah. You can have a portion of the magic and be a tide witch or whatever other ice witch, etc., which is to do with water, or you can be a full-blown water witch. So I think Izyult is going to be a Void Witch, which therefore leans into, is Safi an Aether Witch and not just a Truth Witch?
That would make sense because like the Karawan. So like it
would. Yeah.
I would assume as well that for them to be the Karawan, whoever the Karawan are, they would
Karawan, huh?
It would have to be evenly matched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Safi is just not on Izyult's level right now.
Yeah.
Izyult is way more powerful.
So are they born?
If we go back to the beginning of Truth Witch, totally the other way around, because Izyult was a Thread Witch that could do nothing.
Just to clarify, are they born full like Void Witch or whatever, or is it like a case of like Pokemon where you level up and you evolve? Like, what's happening?
I think you are born with the yeah, he was an
With the potential. Yeah.
Yeah, you're born with it. Like if you are a Tide Witch, you cannot level up to become a Water Witch. You either are or aren't, but it's whether you reach that potential or not.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
Yeah.
This is interesting because I think all the void witches that we know are part nomancy, and the nomancies are travelers.
True.
And they have like pop-up tribes, like the place where Isiel went, where her family are from, wasn't like a city or a town. It was like a hut village, essentially.
Yeah,
Like
they
easily
travel.
constructed.
And we have the area where there was a nomancy tribe that clearly got up and left, but they'd left in a hurry because they'd left the path. Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yes, I believe if you are a full witch, you have all the powers from the element.
Yeah.
Cool. Good to know.
Which would potentially then make sense as to why Aegeon can't smell Isiel's blood. Because that would make her a blood witch as well.
Interesting as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know you have a power, then you're not going to look for it, so to speak. So it's like she probably just hasn't noticed that she can sense, like maybe she can sense other people better than, because she was saying as well that like it's become second nature for her to just sense when people are nearby, and she's always associated that with thread witchery because she's been
What if it's not?
But what if she can actually just smell their blood like people with recognizers and stuff? But she's not done that.
Gotta catch the witches.
Oh, interesting.
Only one person who can be a full element witch. Styx is the only war witch.
Also interesting.
You can suspect that Owl is a void witch of some kind and not really an earth witch.
Possibly because earth ties into animals generally, and in things like games like Animal Mastery and Huntress stuff ties into earth stuff.
Yeah.
But it's also a type of magic that we haven't encountered before, and also seems like manipulation. Like manipulation of the threads.
So why is there only Car Awen then that are like ether and void? What about the rest of them? Do they have their own prophecies? Maybe Owl's got some like side prophecy and she's like the big bad for the earth well or whatever.
There's like something going on over there for fire and water. Like, okay, you go do you.
Yeah.
Unless somebody thinks that she is the Karawan person, and that's why they want her.
Like just the potential.
I think they want her because she can control mountain bats and they're going to war, personally.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think Owl is a full-blown earth witch. She's not just a rock witch or a bat witch.
A bat witch.
I want to be a bat witch.
I want to be a bat witch.
I
love when the bit where the bat got into the cave with them and they were complaining that it smelled.
Yeah.
Yeah, Owl might be.
Also consider actually the Karawan thing is only a prophecy for the Karawan monks, and they're just one faction of religion in this land. There are probably others.
So the only thing that's actually connecting that prophecy to the rest of the world currently is probably just that Safi keeps walking around and being connected with everybody.
Yeah.
It's just like, well.
Oh my god.
I will say,
Row with wings.
I feel like there were certain scenes in this book that I was just like, that was a good scene to read. Like I really liked it when they stopped the dam from flooding.
I did write a note though, and I said if they could fix the dam so easily, why the fuck didn't they do that in the first place?
I was like,
if they could have all just got all the witches to stand there and stick it back together, why didn't they do that to fix the crack?
They didn't know it was possible. Maybe it was like a desperation thing, and like they hadn't actually thought that they could do that. Didn't they say in the beginning that the dam was built in the first place by some really powerful witches? Maybe
I don't remember because I wasn't. The first time the dam was mentioned, I thought it was just like a political strategy thing. And it's only when they kept mentioning it, I was like, this is going to cause some problems.
I really liked the final, like, 50 pages, I don't know, but just like Vivia get into that boat before it got to the dam and just fucking exploded. I was just like, oh my god. And like just her and Merrick coming back together, I loved seeing that.
Did anyone ever believe that Vivia had tried to kill Merrick?
Yes,
Oh.
because of the big deal that Merrick was making about how horrible she was in the first book and how he's supposed to be the admiral because he's the boy of the family, and she wanted that from him. And then I saw him wanting the land as pushback against her because she was horrible and was trying to control everything. He wanted rid of her because she was dangerous, in which case it made sense that she would try to kill him. Because we never hear a nice thing about her. She's like painted as just being like, I guess like an evil sorceress kind of archetype. Not as like a legitimate person who didn't like him for legitimate. Well, the reason she didn't like him was actually not legitimate. It's like a sibling rivalry trauma thing.
Complete sibling rivalry. Yeah. Which I mean, is a legitimate reason in her perspective. But
he didn't do anything to her.
Yeah.
I get why she feels that way towards him, but like in the first book, it's just made out like, because this is the thing. As soon as I realized that the characters were unreliable, everything just made so much more sense. But like in the first book, if Merrick, who is a main character, is telling me that his sister, who is not a main character, is bad, then I'm just going to believe him, because why wouldn't I? So then when we start the book and in the very first chapter, he's like, shit, she's come for me finally. Like, she's finally got rid of me. After saying that's what she wanted for so long, I did just kind of believe him.
Yeah, Cam was totally calling him out on it the whole time.
A lot of times Cam was like, are you sure though? Like,
it would make sense for Cam to be
but
like
Cam
that.
knew. Cam knew.
Yeah.
The whole time, Cam knew.
See, the thing is, though, like, anybody else would be like, are you sure? Because to anybody else, Vivia is the princess, so they have allegiance and loyalty towards her because of that. They don't have the unique perspective that Merrick has of all of these years of Vivia being awful to him. Like what she said at the mum's funeral, like she said something like, I wish you were dead instead. And stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that people like Cam would be like, are you sure she's capable of that?
I kind of had the thing with like when I doubt something, but then I'm like, no, but in terms of the character, it makes sense because with Merrick, the amount of times that Cam was just like, are you sure? Are you sure? Like would have me as a reader thinking like, you know more than you do. Obviously, Merrick is wholeheartedly like, this is everything that's happened. This is the background we've had building up. So he's just not going to question it.
Yeah.
So if somebody's like, well, are you sure? It's like, yes. So I was just like, okay, I can understand that.
Yeah, as soon as we started getting her perspective, I thought, like, well, there's obviously more to this. I think it was probably about a quarter of the way through that I was like, yeah, she probably didn't do it.
I do think it was quite well done in terms of Vivia's perspectives not giving away that she didn't do it, whilst also not explicitly saying that she did.
Because she didn't care as well. That's the thing. Like, even from her perspective, she wasn't bothered that he was dead, which made me think that she had done it. Yeah, they were just both pretty shit to each other.
Yeah.
I did wonder what happened with their dad, because obviously he's just been on the point of near death at this entire time. So I was like, is he going to be controlled somehow? But then I'm like, even if he was, I don't feel like that would be as big of a deal as I would expect it to be in a lot of books, because like Merrick's reaction to Cullen being back and being controlled, and the fact that he's just like, I'm going to go deal with Cullen now, and he just so easily accepted the fact that that's not actually Cullen or whatever. I was like, that was a bit easy. I feel like if you were Thread Brothers or whatever, it would take a lot more convincing to be like, I need to actually kill that guy.
Shove the dad in a well.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I will say I didn't really get the whole gang thing with Cam and what, like the 9-fingered people. I didn't get that. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, there's gang crime, cool.
Who had already discovered the Undercity and were clearly roped in with the Shadow Man. Yes.
don't really know what you're doing, but I'm just going to leave you over there to do what you do.
Yeah, I thought he was healed by the well in the last chapter.
The dad.
Yeah.
I finished this literally earlier. They had a
I think it's the beginning of
funeral.
the last chapter.
She wheeled him in though, didn't she? I remember her saying that she wheeled her dad in front of her. I mean, he could just still be in a wheelchair, but...
I honestly have no recollection of that happening. So bad.
Oh, God.
No, they have a funeral.
Yeah.
They're in the
Oh,
having a funeral for Merrick, who she
when
knows.
the moment I realized that the front cover is Merrick's like funeral, I was like, because of the leaves. That's the only time the leaves are relevant. I was like, oh no.
But he's not dead.
Yeah.
They just said that about the dad, just like, not sure he was healed, but he was feeling better. And it's like, not fully healed, but it's not near death. I'm like, oh my God. Can we stop with the like proximity to death?
He's healed, but he's not healed.
It's like, I'm confused.
But I don't think there was anything to do with actually healing him.
Maybe she was going to, but I feel like maybe she didn't need to in the end.
See, this is it. Vivia rose and cleared her throat. The Vizirial families all thought her father would speak now that he was well enough to return.
Yeah, I think he's recovered enough to be present for his son's funeral.
But I thought that he was sick as in he's dying, like of I don't like cancer or something like that, not he's had an illness that he may recover from naturally.
Yeah, because she did keep mentioning when she went down to the well, like, maybe I should bring my dad here.
But then she never actually did.
Yeah, so maybe he just had a cold or something. I don't know.
He's definitely in a wheelchair. That's as much as I can gather.
Yeah.
He's not recovered.
Good night, Fifi. We'll see you in a couple of Sundays to talk about men. More men in fantasy.
Manly man.
Man.
Although to be fair, like in this chapter, it took me far too long to realize that nobody else actually knew that Merrick was still alive.
Yeah, no one knows.
Obviously, they had the whole thing where they were holding the dam up, and I was just like, oh my God, they're going to have this whole thing of being like, he's here. And I was like, oh, wait, no, he's had shadows covering his face this entire time. Okay.
I think it's sad how little people recognize him because he grew up, like he was sent away by his father, so he never grew up there, so no one really recognized him, which is sad.
Pick up on it earlier because I then remembered like earlier in the book where they were like, oh, he just doesn't recognize me. I can say I'm the Fury, like that's how that became a thing. And I was like, oh yeah, no one recognizes him.
Really? Are you joining the discussion now?
I think Harrison.
Hamilton's favorite character was the mountain bat. He saw a lot of depth of character there.
Yeah.
No, don't climb on it. No. What? No. He just selected that comment himself.
That's what he's like.
Brilliant.
Well,
Have we exhausted our resources? Are we done?
We need to talk about Hamilton being the car, Owen. I'll just flick through my notes, see if I picked up anything else exciting.
it's like, do I have any theories? Probably just that magic is absolutely nothing what they thought it was. Because
My main theory is York being a full-on Void Witch.
Yeah.
And somehow we need to get to Safi being a full-on Aether Witch.
Yeah, I feel like that's the thing. And also, Esme and her dad. I still think it could be a dad. It might not be, but
You were obsessed with people's dads.
I have daddy issues. Clearly, it's clearly becoming a theme.
Well, the Raven King is Adrian's dad. I don't think he's going to be Esme's dad as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they probably are connected by blood somehow. I don't know. He's controlling her somehow, and I'm thinking maybe it's family. I don't know.
I'm very intrigued to see Adrian's background, just because he seems to be like, oh, I'm a blood witch, I'm so scary, everyone should stay away from me, I'm going to kill all these people. But then he just adopts everybody who comes across, just like, oh, mine, mine. He just adopts.
He also really doesn't like fire. Like, he sees fire and he's like, nope, and just bounces.
Yeah.
Well, there was a whole thing where, like, he almost died before his joke came back, and he was just like, thought I could have been beheaded, thought this could have happened, we're going by fire.
I've seen the question come up a few times of the name of Cullen's favourite book, and I'm pretty sure it's the true story of the 12 Paladins.
Yes.
Or True 12 Paladins. I've got it tabbed. The True Tale of the 12 Paladins.
And they were mentioned in conjunction to something else that I can't remember.
They've popped up multiple times.
Yeah.
There is something important about them.
One of my notes just says, Merrick is dead? Question mark, exclamation point.
Not dead. He's not dead. He's just dead.
Yeah, not dead.
The only thing that I have of interest is just about Vivia and Merrick, and it says Vivia and Merrick are so eager to see each other as the villains that they're blind to people scheming against them and can't see that they'd be better off working together.
Yeah.
They were both just so convinced that the other was doing it.
The moments towards the end where they were just like, two people working together, and I was like, I loved it. But then they just...
Yeah, who's Safi's dad? We've got a couple of questions about. Oh.
Oh my god, there's going to be 12 full element witches and there'll be the 12 paladins.
Interesting.
What a theory.
I don't think I really have any theories.
They keep mentioning the trickster a lot as well, whoever that is. But I've noticed a lot in this. There was a lot of mentions to the trickster in relation to the 12 paladins.
Yeah, I did tab something to do with that. The Moon Mother as well.
Yeah.
I feel like there's too many semi-mystical things because I've got like
too much to keep track of.
The trickster was known to inhabit the forgotten bodies of the forest. I feel like the Raider King's doing. Is the trickster the same as the Fury, but a different culture?
Mm.
too many names, man.
Too much
I
happening.
love how I just said I tabbed something to do with the trickster, but I'll never be able to find it, and the orange tab that I opened was the exact one that I needed.
This is mine. 12 Saints that we keep hearing about.
Yeah, the trickster, the Moon Mother, the Fury.
I'm convinced there's like 5
Lake
people
Vale.
that just got 7 names each.
There's hagfishes as well.
Oh my god. So, like, what?
I think next month is going to be really interesting because Sightwitch gives us a lot of information on the things that we don't know a lot about.
Good, we need it. My brain
The
hurts.
place that is, oh yeah, I did want to ask you this. Is Sightwitch set? Is it just Ryber where Ryber's just been, or does it continue on from Windwitch?
It's pre everything.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I thought it might cover the time like where she's just been since she left them at the end of Truthwitch.
It's prequel.
Interesting.
I think it might. Oh, it's been a while since I read it. I think it might hint as to where she has been, but it's not the story of where she has been. So yeah, it's going to give us a lot of information on things that have been hinted at that we're annoyed we don't know anything about.
This
Why this is the perfect time to read it.
I have a feeling I may have to read it twice.
Same.
Sure, you can do that.
So
I will say that it's perfectly normal to dislike Safi.
Yeah.
At the beginning of Truthwitch.
Yeah. Ryber gonna come and crush our confusion.
Kill. Ryber the Queen.
Oh, the queen. Yeah, I'm looking forward to rereading it because there's probably a lot of it that I've forgotten, but I know some of the things that it answers. Big bang just came from downstairs.
How big is Windwitch? 100 and something?
Yeah, it's not big at all. I haven't got a physical copy, so I don't know.
That makes me sad. If it's mythology, like to do with the mythology, I would like it to be the size of an encyclopedia.
I just know it's got diagrams and stuff, and I'm like, yay!
Yeah, Sightwitch is a must before Bloodwitch, absolutely. Which is why I'm dedicating a whole month to it. You must read it. I'm not having people read the series and think, oh, I'm not going to read the little novella. It's not important. It is. Very. We think it's going to be the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
The paperback of Sightwitch is 240 pages.
I thought you were going to say £240.
But also it's mixed media. So we have illustrations, we have diary entries, all sorts in that one. But yeah, we're going for the 12th of June on Cody's channel at 9 p.m. Be there.
Someone text me that, please, as reference, because I will forget.
Cody will be there.
I won't be there.
Let me do that quickly.
Thank you.
Your channel.
Yes, Rachel, that is the correct order. Yeah, that was a truth. Which one was a wild time?
I'm also just like, Shadow, like I know it's meant to be Ziol's book, but I'm just like, but we have shadow people and people who are not quite dead.
I hope that's the right date that I've just put in. It is the 12th, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ashley texted me last night because she said in my TBR I kept saying that the live show was tomorrow, so Ashley panicked and thought it was tomorrow, and then when she X'd out of my video, I just scheduled it. So
popped up saying it was today, and I was like, oh cool, that answered my question before I needed to.
Yeah. Yeah. I could have put Truthwitch to help us out with some whatever fun points. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's true.
I just couldn't put it on like my favorites because it's not. Doesn't mean I don't love it though, because I do. Clearly. Are we done? Are we
Believe so.
all theorized out? Yeah? Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, we will see you on the 12th then. Do you want me to end this? This is on your channel.
You know that I can't do that. I'll just press the button.
We'll see you on the 12th at Cody's channel, 9 p.m. You've got plenty of time to read a teeny tiny book. Actually, I think it's going to be the longest break to read the shortest book. So enjoy. And we will see you there. But for now,